Did you know that there are over 10,000 phrasal verbs in English? Welcome to Jen's Jyugyou. My name is Jen, and today I'm going to teach you some useful tricks on how you can remember phrasal verbs. Before we begin, let's review what a phrasal verb is. A phrasal verb is a verb, an action word, plus a preposition. Words like in, on, at, down, from, to. And the verb and the preposition will come together to create a new unique meaning in English. Although I mentioned there are over 10,000 phrasal verbs in English, you don't have to memorize every single phrasal verb. In fact, memorizing all of these phrasal verbs would be a waste of time. So in today's lesson, I'm going to break down phrasal verbs into 4 different types, 4 different groups that will help you to understand phrasal verbs more clearly. The first group of phrasal verbs is where the verb keeps the actual meaning of the verb and the preposition is merely used to emphasize the direction that the action is happening in. For example, if I have this hat, I put on the hat. Put on is the phrasal verb. It's connected to the preposition on because of the actual direction. It is on my head. The opposite of put on is take off. So now I'm removing the hat from my head. The direction of off usually means to remove something. Stand up. Literally, you're moving upwards. Or lay down. Your body is going from an up position to a downwards position. Take out. In some of my previous videos, I talked about how I want my husband to take out the garbage. So he's taking it out of our apartment. If someone knocks on your door, you might say to them, come in. In is the direction. Or if you are trying to find a good deal on a certain product, you might call many different places. We have the phrasal verb call around. So the first category for phrasal verbs is the verb keeps the actual meaning of the verb and the preposition is just used to talk about the direction that the action is happening. The next category for phrasal verbs is where the verb keeps the same general meaning and the preposition is used to talk about an action that is completely finished. It is 100% done. For this category, you're only going to be looking at 4 prepositions. The prepositions are up, off, down, and out. From these 4 prepositions, the preposition up is used the most often to describe an action that has been completely done. For example, eat up. It means, please eat everything, please finish eating. My husband ate up all the cookies and there's none left for me. Cheers, drink up. I want you to finish drinking completely. Drink as much as you can. If I want to take a bath, I need to fill up the bathtub, completely fill it with water. If I am using some kind of item in my house and I use all of that item completely, I have used up the item. I could also say that I have finished up the item because the item's completely finished. We use finish up as well to talk about certain tasks that we need to do. I have a lot of homework. I need to finish up my homework. The other 3 prepositions that I mentioned are used in a similar way as well. For example, if I want you to find the answer to something, but I want you to find all of the information as much as you possibly can, I want you to find out information on this thing. If you have some debt, you need to pay off your debt, meaning to completely pay the debt. Finish paying the debt 100%. If my table is really messy, I might need to clear off the table. Remove everything from the table so that we have space to eat dinner. Or clean off the table. While I'm cleaning the table, I might wipe down the table, meaning to completely wipe the whole thing and make sure it's nice and clean. Gulp it down, meaning to drink it very quickly. I gulped down the water. I completely finished drinking it all. The third category of phrasal verbs that's useful to remember is where the verb plus the preposition implies that the action of the verb is ongoing, that it is continuing, or in the past, that it continued. For this type of combination of phrasal verbs, the two prepositions that we use with this are on and away. A really common example of this is the phrasal verb play on, meaning to continue playing. While the Titanic was sinking, the band played on. Go on. Go on is usually said to someone to encourage them to continue speaking. If someone's speaking and they stop and pause hesitantly, go on. I want them to continue going on with their conversation, continue speaking. Move on. Move on means to stop staying where you are and continue your progress. We've talked about this issue a lot. Can we please move on? Work away. If I have lots of things to do, I need to work away at them to try and complete them. So this means I'm continuing working until I've finished. All I hear is construction workers banging away, meaning they're continuing to bang things. You just hear hammers, boom, 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 banging all the time. So they are banging away. Fade away. The process of disappearing is slowly ongoing until it's completely gone. As time went on, gradually the bad memories faded away. Most phrasal verbs in English, luckily, are from these first three categories. However, unfortunately, the area where most students struggle with in learning phrasal verbs is the fourth type or fourth group that I will introduce you to. The fourth type of phrasal verb that you will encounter is an idiomatic phrasal verb, meaning that the verb and the preposition together don't necessarily make logical sense. The meaning's kind of opaque and difficult to gather immediately. For these types of phrasal verbs, you don't necessarily need to sit down and memorize every single one of them, but for phrasal verbs that you hear often in daily conversation, it's a good idea to make sure you understand the meaning of them and know how you can use them yourself. Let me give you a few examples of common idiomatic phrasal verbs in English. One example is give up. If you give up something, it doesn't mean you're giving it and holding it up. It means to completely quit and stop doing something. Many people want to give up smoking so that they can have better health. Or if I'm on a diet, I need to give up eating chocolate. Put off. To put off something means to postpone it and do it later. When I was a university student, in my first year of university, I often put off my assignments and then had to stay up till 5 a.m. trying to finish them. Hang out. Hang out means to spend time with someone in a casual, relaxed, and friendly way. I like to hang out with my friends. Look out! Look out is a command and it means be careful. Similarly, we have hold on and hang on. These phrasal verbs don't mean to grasp something and hang on to it or hold on to it. They mean to wait. Please hang on a minute. I'll answer your question in a second. Please hold on. I'm a little busy. I'll get back to you. If you'd like to learn more phrasal verbs that are used to describe daily routines in English, you can check out a video that I've made about that over here. When you are learning idiomatic phrasal verbs or reviewing or remembering any phrasal verbs, there are two pieces of advice that I'd like to give you. The first piece of advice is that in order to help you remember and learn phrasal verbs, it's a good idea to learn phrasal verbs primarily based on topic. For example, phrasal verbs you might need for grocery shopping, or phrasal verbs you might need for business situations, phrasal verbs you might need to use during lockdown. Generally, when it comes to phrasal verbs, the verb or the preposition will help to guide you a little bit as to what the meaning of the phrasal verb could be. So I recommend learning phrasal verbs or reviewing them based on the verb itself or based on a topic. My second piece of advice for you is just to be aware of phrasal verbs. They are everywhere and are used every day. They're not just casual and they're not just formal. They're used in all sorts of situations and circumstances. So when you're reading English or listening to English, be aware that the phrasal verbs are there. When you encounter a new phrasal verb, if the meaning isn't clear based on the first 3 categories from this video, it's possible that it's an idiomatic phrasal verb. In which case, I recommend you write down the phrasal verb in your vocabulary notebook. And if you haven't started a vocabulary notebook, I highly recommend you do so to keep track of vocabulary and phrasal verbs that you are learning. For more tips on how to use a vocabulary notebook to improve your English fluency, please check out a video that I've made about that over here. Hopefully, by knowing about these 4 types of phrasal verbs and my tips on how to remember idiomatic phrasal verbs, this will help you to improve your phrasal verb learning and usage of phrasal verbs. If you're interested in a great phrasal verb textbook, I'll put a link to one of my favorite phrasal verb textbooks in the description below this video, so be sure to check it out. And now it's time for Question of the Day. Today's question is, what tips or tricks do you use to help yourself remember and use phrasal verbs? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. If you found it useful, please subscribe to Jen's Jyugyou and give this video a thumbs up. Good luck with your English studies. See you in the next lesson.